As a major hotel property looks to open downtown for the first time in 40 years, a major hotel property or two looks to possibly be sold on the Las Vegas Strip. What's going on, everybody? My name is Steven, and I am not leaving Las Vegas, and today is a day full of massive amounts of news, and I'm sure the people down at Circa are not too happy that the Las Vegas Sands Corporation stole some of their thunder, but don't worry about Circa. It's going to be the biggest project in 40 years in Las Vegas, and it's going to do just fine. But the news today is double fold, double whammy, holy cow. Number one, Circa opens today. We have Circa opening downtown in Las Vegas, the very first hotel tower built from the ground up in downtown Las Vegas in 40 years. The property sitting at number 1 Fremont Street, towers at 30 some odd stories tall, 777 rooms to be opened slowly and surely in the future in December. The first 5 levels are open today. The black tie event is on. I'm going to that black tie event with my wife Caroline. If you guys want to see the first footage from inside of Circa anywhere, you will subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for all notifications, because at 12:01 a.m. Tomorrow, the 28th Las Vegas time, I will go live from inside of that property. And I sure hope they have really good Wi-Fi, because that would be a shame, or really good internet connection. But that's the big news. Now, Circa doesn't have to worry, because the property is massive. It's on a scale that nobody's ever seen before in downtown Vegas. And some of the aspects of the resort are actually bigger than anything in Las Vegas, period. Okay? By the way, before we go on further and I tell you about that, my name is Steven, and I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I hope you would like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for the future notifications, turn on all notifications, or else you might miss when I go live tonight at 12:01 a.m. or tomorrow 12:01 a.m. from inside the Circa. Leave us a comment below. Are you happy about the Circa news, and are you upset about the news that we're going to get to about Venetian and Palazzo in just a moment? If you guys want to support the channel, you can always do so by just clicking subscribe, like, hit the bell, leave us a comment. Those free things cost you $0, take about 10 seconds to do, and at the end of it all, it helps YouTube know the channel is worth watching. But we also have other options. You can go over to Facebook and join the group Not Leaving Las Vegas for free. You can also head on over if you want to do the credits. You guys want to do the early access to videos. We have the YouTube channel memberships, the Patreon, links below, and also VegasFacemasks.com. The only 2 masks you'll ever need. I'm not sure what this one's called because it's not officially on the website. I have exclusive, limited amounts of material if you like this one, but we have 60 types, and we have the holiday Christmas stuff. I have to get some Hanukkah stuff too. So if you want a Hanukkah mask, you tell me. And VegasFacemasks.com, no S at the end. But the news today, oh boy, sound like John Lennon. I read the news today, oh boy. So Circa is going to be a big deal, okay? Stadium Swim is a big deal. Massive, massive, huge screen outside focused on sports. You could be watching the Stanley Cup Finals in the pool, year-round heated pool, some of the best water filtration on the planet Earth, some of the best air filtration on the entire planet. And in a world where C-19 concerns are everywhere, it's good to know that this property is going to be just really up to specs on when it comes to all of the health standards. It takes, believe it or not, 3 people to run the sports book inside. It's such a massive endeavor with its huge LED displays, restaurants in the back so you can sit and eat and watch your event happening and gamble and bet. Multiple restaurants, 21 plus only, with the exception of one restaurant that has a following where families like to go to it, where the kids have to be ushered in. No, asthma attack. I'm so excited. Kids have to be ushered in a certain specific type of back entry. I mean, the property is right across the street from the Plaza, right on Fremont Street. Derek Stevens and his brother have really, from the looks of it, I've not been inside yet, outdone themselves. By the way, if you want to see something early exclusive, go to Richard Wilk's channel. He's doing a video live stream at 2:30 p.m. today. Just type Richard Wilk into YouTube and you'll find his channel. Make sure you subscribe to him, hit his bell for notifications, and you'll see at 2:30 p.m. when he does a live event, a live stream, a sneak peek into Circa. He told me he was doing it last night. I helped him set it up. Come on, Richard. I know you're busy, but you got to go live today at 2:30. That's the big news today, right? But the other big news is that Bloomberg is reporting that a major hotel, 2 of them, as a matter of fact, are up for sale in Las Vegas. Yeah, the Venetian and the Palazzo are up for sale. Asking price approximately $6 billion with a B at the start, not an M. $6 billion for the Venetian and the Palazzo. And does this sale even make sense? And why is it happening? Now, some of you at this point are saying, well, Steven, you keep telling us that the crowds are getting bigger and thicker on the weekends. And that's true. That has nothing to do with it. This doesn't have much to do with the C-19 virus as much as it has to do with the fact that in the last 20 years, Las Vegas Sands Corporation that owns the properties have shifted away and started making most of their revenues from Asia and other markets. So 13% of all the revenues for that property actually come from Las Vegas. 87% come from elsewhere. They could be looking for a cash infusion so they can bank all that and get that into their other properties and their other markets so they can keep those running during this giant global depression we have because of the C-19 virus. But we have to ask ourselves, where would the actual likely suitors be coming from? It's going to be really tough to find out because there's not a lot of money to go around. You take a look at the properties. You have the Caesars Entertainment. Well, that's probably not going to happen because they just formed that company, and part of forming that company was that they had to go ahead and defer some of their properties. They had to get rid of some things. They're looking to sell a property in Las Vegas, not buy and acquire them. Additionally, that property, that company is focused on earning a profit right now. They're not focused on taking on a $6 billion debt load when they finance something like buying the Venetian and the Palazzo. What other companies could be involved in here, and why is this property so important? We'll get to that in just a moment too. You have the possibility of the Wynn, which is intriguing to me. You see, Steve Wynn and Sheldon Addison always had a kind of rivalry going on. They never really liked each other. Steve Wynn doesn't run his company anymore, but if you're ever inside of the Wynn and the Encore, take a look at the Wynn. You're not going to see "This way to the Venetian" signs inside. It just doesn't exist. It just says "Walkway to Las Vegas Boulevard," even though the walkway goes directly to the Palazzo. So could they afford to buy it? Maybe. They might be able to finagle some Wall Street money to finance a deal like that. They could purchase it. It's a possibility. The other possibility we'll talk about in a second is a real estate investment trust, which they might be interested in. I'll explain how that works too. But again, when they're furloughing their employees, they're laying people off, which means the jobs are gone permanently. When they're closing their buffet and closing the Encore from Mondays through Thursdays entirely to the public and only opening on the weekends, not a good chance that they're in the position to buy. Well, the last one would be MGM Resorts International. And MGM Resorts International was real big back last year. They sold the Circa Circus outright to Phil Ruffin, so they no longer own it. They sold the land and the property that the Bellagio, MGM Grand, and Mandalay Bay sit on. So they have a real estate investment trust with those companies where they're the tenants doing the work in the property, and they get to pay a rent and reap some of the benefits on appreciation of the value of the property itself. And that's where I think we're headed to, because the other likely ones in Vegas, they're not likely at all. Penn National Gaming, they formed a company so they could sell the Tropicana to themselves, essentially, and they just don't have money right now. They own the M Resort, but let's be honest, with no Raiders games happening and being the Raiders partnered property, they're paying a lot for that license. I don't suspect that they have much in their coffers. They're not going to be able to get loans from Wall Street. It's probably not going to happen. What we are looking at most likely in this case is a real estate investment trust. And that would be where a company like MGM Resorts International or like the Wynn just buy the land of the property and then let the Venetian actually operate the casino floor, the restaurants, and the venue itself. That way they're getting a constant cash flow of money coming in from a rental type of situation where they're now the landlords, and that way they're actually able to own the land that it sits on and appreciate it in value. Now, those kinds of deals happen all the time in Vegas. It happened, as I said, several times last year. So that's a possibility. We could also see a company that has nothing to do with gaming come in whatsoever, purchase the land and keep the Las Vegas Sands Corporation in there as a tenant, which means Las Vegas Sands gets to reap the benefits of what they built for the past 20 or 30 years out there, and they don't have to worry about the land, and they can take all that cash and they can go and fund all of their other projects. Now, some of you guys might be asking, why is the Venetian Palazzo such an important property? Well, number one, it's one of the premium and premier properties on the planet Earth. It's one of the largest resorts on Earth when you take into effect both properties put together, more rooms than almost anywhere else. It's in the top 10 list of planet Earth-sized resorts for sure. But at the same time, it does have a massive convention center with the Sands Convention Center. It does have access to the MSG Sphere that's being built in the back. Heck, at one point, Sheldon Addison himself tried to fund and fuel the building of the Raiders Stadium in Vegas, so you know this man loves Las Vegas. Big props, by the way, to Sheldon Addison, because one reason I do like him as a casino owner in Vegas is that he paid 9,000 employees to essentially sit at home during the entire shutdown. Full-time salaries, didn't even take a cut, didn't reduce them, didn't furlough them, and even paid the salaries of restaurant vendors that were just simply in the property. People that didn't didn't even work for the man, just to keep everything going. From what I've heard from one of my sources, he actually wants to see Las Vegas grow and survive, and he's told these properties in Vegas, hey, you're going to have to lose money for a while, but if you don't do that and we don't run through this and we don't stay the course, we might not have Las Vegas in the future. Now he looks like he's selling the property. So I'm completely confused. But what about you? Are you confused enough yet? We'll keep an eye on this. Bloomberg, when they report things, almost always 100% of the time report real news. They're not just throwing rumors out there like some websites on the internet are. So when these things happen and they were right in predicting every single transaction that happened last year, we have to keep a close eye on them because a new ownership, that could change the way Las Vegas looks forever. I sure hope whoever does buy it, if it gets sold in the future, keeps the theming, doesn't change anything, doesn't rock the boat, doesn't let the property's value slip. And if Las Vegas Sands Corporation was in there as an operator with a real estate investment trust, that would be absolutely perfect for them. But I'm curious to know what your answer is to all of this. What do you think this means? Do you think it means that Vegas is in big trouble? I certainly don't. I just think this is one company trying to get money to fuel other things. But hey, if 87% of all of their profits come from outside of the United States and Las Vegas, that might say something about how much people gamble in the United States. It might say something about the future of the city. But you tell me in the comments below. Once again, my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Like, share, subscribe, hit all notifications so you can see when Circa opens tonight at 12:01 a.m. If you guys want to support the channel further, reach out to us on Facebook groups, Not Leaving Las Vegas. There's the channel memberships here on YouTube. You also have options to do Patreon or VegasFacemasks.com. Getting them to you in about a week's time, if less right now. We have it down to a science. And that's the 2 for $25, no S at the end, VegasFacemasks.com. Now's the time of the video where I say thank you for watching and supporting. You've been a lifeline to Caroline and myself during this crazy time. If I didn't have this channel, I would have lost my mind and we would have been in trouble. So you make it possible, and I appreciate you, dear viewer and dear friend, for watching me, and my wife and my cats and my life. So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, click. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, are you ready? And click.